Hey guys, this is Dr. Hub. Now let's look at the cerebellar cortex. And we are going to focus on the layers. So cerebellar cortex layers, the first one being the molecular layer. So under the molecular layer, it is the outermost layer. It is the outermost layer. And it contains the stellate cells and the basket cells. So stellate as well as basket cells are present. They receive the excitatory input from the parallel fibers. So the excitatory input they receive from the parallel fibers. And from the inhibitory synapses on the Purkinje fibers. So it forms inhibitory synapses on the Purkinje fiber. So it may contain myelinated and unmyelinated fibers. So it can contain the myelinated as well as the unmyelinated nerve fibers, and it giving a pale appearance in H&D and gives pale appearance in H&D staining. Then we look at the Purkinje layer. Purkinje layer is in the middle layer. It is mid layer, and it contains the flask-shaped cell bodies of the Purkinje cells. So it has a flask-shaped cell bodies of the Purkinje cell. Then the axons of the Purkinje cell pass through the granular layer into the white matter. The axons of the Purkinje cells. So they pass through the granular layer into the white matter. Pass through granular layer. So they pass from the granular layer into the white matter. So granular layer into the white matter and the synapses with the cerebral nuclei, and synapse with the cerebellar nuclei. Next we move on to the granular layer. So the granular layer, it is the innermost layer. It is the innermost layer. It contains the cell bodies of the granule cells. So it has cell bodies of the granule cells as well as the Golgi cells. And it receives excitatory input from the mossy fibers. So excitatory input is from the mossy fibers. And they end on the dendrites of the granule cells, and these complexes are known as glomeruli. So they end on the dendrites of the granule cells. So this is where they end on dendrites of the granule cells, and it forms complexes. This is known as the glomeruli. The axon from the granule cells travel to the molecular layer and bifurcates in a T-shaped. So there is a T-shaped bifurcation. So this is when the axon of the granule cells travels to the molecular layer. So axons from the granule cells, it travels to the molecular layer, and this it bifurcates into T cells. These branches form the T and are called as parallel fibers. So it forms T. This is nothing but the parallel fibers. Next is these parallel fibers form excitatory synapse. The parallel fibers, they form the excitatory synapse, and this is with the Purkinje cells. And the granule cells form the only excitatory neurons. The granule cells, they form the only, they travel in the molecular bifurcates into a T-shaped layer that we saw, and then these fibers, they form excitatory synapse of the Purkinje cells. The granules form the only excitatory neurons. So it forms the only excitatory neurons, and this is in the cerebral cortex. And the Golgi cells, it receives input from the parallel fibers and the mossy fibers. They receive input from the parallel fibers as well as the mossy fibers. So they send inhibitory output to the granule cells. So they give inhibitory output to the granule cells.